Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Allincrypto here, and today we are going to be taking a look at VanEcks Solana price prediction. Now, this is not my price prediction. However, I will be giving you my thoughts on it. And we don't really, we've been mentioning Solana now for a while. We were very impressed at the start of the year, and that was kind of an early sign that Solana was going to do what it is now doing. We were very impressed at the start of the year with just how strong Solana pumped in relation to other altcoins, and that was kind of a precursor of what is happening now and potentially what may still be to come. So we are going to spend the bulk of the video actually looking at Solana's or VanEcks Solana base, bear, and bull case, which ranges from their bear case being $9.81 all the way up to their most bullish case being a whopping $3,211. That's pretty much 100x from where it is, just under. And of course, their kind of base case, which they believe is a 10-ish x, which I actually don't think is too out of the realms of possibility. But before I actually dive into all of this, I want to kind of show you some things that we've been looking at that have made Solana of interest to me. And you guys will know, if you're regular followers of the channel, Solana is something that we actually look to trade. I completely didn't successfully trade this, even though my trade ideas were very spot on. You know, we were looking at a potential falling wedge that was setting up for Solana. Of course, we got the execution on that. I actually got in at support, and then because of my risk management, had to capitulate on the final low, only for it to be up. What is it up today? Let's take a quick look from the low. You know, nearly 100%. That would have, for me, been a salary, basically, an average salary in the UK or the US. So you live and learn, but this is the game of trading. You're never going to get everything right, and you're always going to be missing spectacular trades. But we were very right on our kind of prediction of it. And just to go back to the point that I made at the start of the video, what really impressed me with Solana was the initial pump that it had from $8 all the way up to 26. You know, this was, if you compare it to other altcoins, a lot stronger than most of them, and it was a kind of precursor of what's to come. And if this is now what could be a third wave, you're likely going to see a repeat, if not more, of this, dependent on the cryptocurrency market really behaving, which, if you guys are new to this channel, we cover on a daily basis. So we got a lot to look at. You know, some of the things that also interested me on Solana was the fact that grayscales, we've been very bullish on a lot of the grayscale products. We actually traded GBTC last week, and this is something that we've got going for Grayscale's digital large cap fund, which Solana is essentially, other than Ethereum, the biggest altcoin of. There's also an ex-Ethereum fund, which Solana is the top holding. So there's clearly an institutional appetite. And actually, not seen anyone cover this because this only came out 3 hours ago. If you look at CoinShares inflows, digital asset inflows, you know, Solana is the real standout. And actually, this is the largest inflow we've seen last week in nearly 2 years, a year and a half, essentially last July. So there's a few things that really prick my ears up with Solana. And I understand that a lot of people don't like Solana because of Sam Bankman-Fried's involvement and FTX, and they definitely artificially pump the price of Solana. But there is a real pool of developers and a real product there, whether you like it or not. And I can understand the criticism that it gets, but we're not here to deep dive into the tech and the ethics of it. We're here to potentially look at it from an investment point of view, and look at VanEck's take on it, because it was certainly an interesting one. I've added my own little reasons for being interested in it to start the year off. So let's dive into what you've all undoubtedly clicked on this video for, and that is an outrageous, or is it so outrageous, price prediction from VanEck, their base, bear, and bull case for Solana valuation by 2030. I know we actually mentioned this in our daily market update on Sunday, and I said 2023. The dyslexic in me, guys, and this may be painful for some as we're going to read some of this out, is ever present. So by 2030, our Solana valuation scenario projects a SOL price ranging from a bearish $9.81 to a bullish $3,211. anchored by varied market shares and revenue estimates across key sectors. So they start off by mentioning a number of things. They start off by really addressing smart contract platforms, what they are, and then they look at monthly active users of smart contract platforms. And you can see you've got Solana doing very well, Ethereum, then you've got BNB, Tron, Polygon, and all others. And according to this, Solana has is in very good standing when you look at it compared to that. They go on to say Solana's potential begins with its founding team's success in blending radical experimentation with applied science to monumentally improve blockchain scaling, while other chains have chosen scaling paths that clearly circumventigate the limitations of distributed ledgers. Solana has instead chosen to push to the limits of technologically feasible problems and work backwards from there. And actually, we've seen issues with this, with the Solana blockchain being halted. And actually, VanEck do go on during this report and actually highlight some of those, but we probably won't skim over them. We're just going to take the bulk of it. We did do an article over at allincrypto.com. If you guys are not already aware, we do have our own website. We are publishing the hottest takes, the most recent news on a daily basis. Well worth going over and checking out. If you want a kind of shorter, simplified version, we've even implemented an AI bot that will read it to you. Please do go ahead and check our website out. But on with the VanEck report and price prediction. So Solana's approach, usability, the probability of a blockchain network hosting the next killer app hinges upon the chain's abilities to make using that application fast, convenient, and accessible. The more capable the blockchain, the better the environment for users. The key question is measuring blockchain's abilities and understanding how that translates into usability. A popular metric is transactions per second. Is an inadequate measure that is easily manipulated. It is indeed manipulated on many occasions. Realistically, blockchain teams can improve this metric by many tricks, including changing the amount of data each transaction contains. So you can basically, get rid of the storage it takes, not to go too much into detail with it. Foregoing the order of transactions and limiting what part of the ledger a transaction can change. In fact, the best metric to truly measure blockchain's capacity is not transactions per second. I thought this was a really interesting take, but instead data throughput. Data throughput involves a blockchain's ingesting process and ordering data and then agreeing on the data's impact on the blockchain ledger. Data throughput is determined by measuring the amount of data that can be received and applied by a blockchain over a given period. The more data a blockchain can translate into ledger updates over a time increment, the better. As it stands, Solana's data throughput exceeds that of any other blockchain in existence. So they very cleverly not implemented or spoken about DAGs here, which are on par, if not better, actually at doing what they're highlighting as a better metric to use than throughput. This is why we like making these videos, because I actually thought that this was a very good report, and we'll get into the price prediction in just a second. In fact, Solana's data capacity exceeds that of most planned blockchains, and Solana's next significant software upgrade, the Fire Dancer. If you guys want me to do an update on this, I certainly will do. Upgrade promises to exceed Solana's current capacity by a factor of 10. While we do not pretend to know how much data the next killer application blockchain needs to ingest and process, we imagine that 10 million users doing anything on chain will push blockchain scalability to its limits. Yes, so I agree with what they're saying. A blockchain needs to be usable, needs to be fit for purpose. You only need, for some of these layer ones, 1 or 2 killer app for the entire blockchain to blow up, i.e. gain a lot of traction. And we're still such a speculative space. But you can see this is the figures that they've actually put forward. I think they've somewhat picked and choosed who they've incorporated here, and they've missed out DAGs perhaps deliberately. I don't know. But generally, I think that they've got a point here with actually what they're talking about in terms of data throughput. So apps on Solana, we're going to miss out. Solana versus Ethereum, contrasting philosophies. Okay. That was an interesting article that they made. Solana's cost versus revenue challenges. So if you think about into the future, right now, most blockchains are, and DAGs ran off the supply, or funded, I should say, by the supply and the issuance of it, the inflation of it. I think we will move to a world, and the ones that really do this and have a good fee revenue model in place are going to do very well, certainly if they get that adoption on the back end of it. But we are going to move to a point when actually blockchains are going to need to be self-funded, and you can look at governance and stuff like this and all these weird and wonderful ways that people are imagining this. But you can see here that Solana's fees versus expenses. These are the revenue fees and these are expenses. You can see it's quite off-putting, but they talk about a number of things, a number of validating nodes, so on and so forth. We're going to miss this. SCL weekly activity, developer market share. You can see they've got Solana, Dart, ETH, Atom, BNB, Matic, and others. I'd be interested to see who they've chosen in regards to others. Solana's valuation scenario overview by 2030. Here we go, guys. This, of course, is their base case, coming in with a valuation of $335. Their bear case is $10, and their bull case, maybe an extreme bull case, is $3,211. Now, this is interesting because this is only really a 10x from where Solana currently is. Is that too out of the realms of possibility if we enter another full-blown bull market? That's only roughly where it was. But then we do know that FTX had a lot to probably do with that. I don't think their base case is particularly too outlandish when you look at it like that. The bull case, however, I have no idea. But that would, give Solana a not out of the realms of possibility market cap, because we've seen Ethereum do it essentially, but certainly be significant. They go to say, we apply a VanEcks standardized valuation framework to Solana to achieve a token valuation of $335 in our base case for 2030. Sorry, nearly did it again. The estimate is based upon projecting a terminal value multiplied on Solana's SOL token, derived from a predicted real rate of return. This real rate of return is calculated from the estimated cash flow remittance to SOL token holders. This multiple is then applied to the terminal year FCFC, free cash flow, to the token and divided by the expected number of tokens in the terminal year. So you can see this is their breakdown of it. More specifically on revenues and cash flows, our framework begins to examine the different revenue items for Solana. First, it takes a rate on end market activity. We begin this exercise by identifying end markets that will utilize public blockchains such as Ethereum and Solana. The three main categories for this are finance, banking, and payments, metaverse and gaming, and infrastructure. Depending upon the scenarios, we then assume a certain portion of businesses and their revenues will be derived from blockchain activities or employ blockchains in some capacity to find their customers. We absolutely agree with this, by the way, guys. Create new products, reduce costs, or simplify back-end business functions. Since public blockchains are analogs to Web 2, platforms like Amazon and Apple Store and Uber, we then suppose that public blockchains will have an effective take rate of the GMV and their end market revenues. In our base case, we find a take rate that is 1/5 of Ethereum's equivalent take rate on blockchain activity. Thus, the total revenue to Solana from end market transactions is 2.8 billion. Additionally, we also factor in MEV as a revenue item that is effectively waterfalled from trader entities to validators to token holders. We calculate MEV by estimating the total number of assets locked in Solana's DeFi and multiply it by an annual take rate. Our base case finds a revenue of MEV in 2030 to be 5.9 billion, so nearly 6 billion. Once we have the raw revenue figures, we deduct and assumed tax rate, as well as an approximation of the validator's cost by the ecosystem. So this is their base case. They go on to talk about a number of other things and revenue fees. And of course, they then come up with a valuation of Solana, which is their base case of $335 with a bull case of 3,211. So very interesting article. I'm going to leave a link to both this one and our allincrypto.com article in the description. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think it's outlandish? I think when you look at it as it's only a 10x from the price now, and if we do have a full-blown bull run, is it out the realms of possibility? I don't think so. I think they've highlighted some really good points. I'm really interested in finding out what your predictions on this are. And my prediction is that actually their base case, although I can't say that it's going to happen, I can say that actually it's not out the realms of possibility, and I could see it happening. Their bull case, I really have no idea whether it's going to 100x or not. But if crypto really does grip the world in the way that we think it is going to, and it is already starting to, you are going to have winners of that. And certainly, is it out of the realms of possibility, a cryptocurrency like Solana, if it succeeds, having a market cap that would be derived from a supply of Solana times by $3,211. I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility. But that's all I've got for you guys. This is not my price prediction. This is VanEcks. Interesting. Thought I'd share it, and I want to know your thoughts in the comment section. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.